The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Those words were written nearly 2,000 years ago by Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the Roman Empire while waging a war within himself. A philosopher-emperor, he faced betrayal, disease, loss, and war. And yet, in the silence of his private writings, he kept returning to one essential truth. Your mind becomes what you feed it. What you dwell on, you become. In the modern world, this truth has taken a new shape, one called the law of attraction. Scroll through social media or browse the shelves of any bookstore, and you'll see it everywhere. Thoughts become things. What you focus on, you attract. Visualize your dream life, and it will come. It's seductive, empowering. It promises control in a chaotic world. If you can just think positively enough, with enough belief and intention, the universe will reward you. But the Stoics would stop us right there. Not to reject the power of thought, they understood it deeply, but to question its direction. Because not every thought leads to virtue. Not every desire makes you free. And so we must ask, what happens when desire becomes obsession? What happens when focusing on what you want turns into suffering over what you lack? What does Stoic philosophy, grounded in realism, self-mastery, and virtue, say about attracting the life you want? Let's begin by unpacking the core idea behind the law of attraction. It tells us that we shape our reality through our thoughts and beliefs. That we are like magnets, drawing toward us the things we constantly think about, whether good or bad. If you want love, wealth, peace, success, you must first see it in your mind and feel it as if it's already yours. The universe, we're told, will respond. To some degree, there's truth here. Focus matters. Intention matters. Mental clarity matters. The Stoics would agree. You become what you repeatedly think. If your mind is full of envy, fear, resentment, your life will reflect that. But here's where the Stoics diverge from modern manifestation teachings. The Stoics didn't use the mind to escape reality. They used it to face it completely. Where the law of attraction teaches you to imagine what you want, the Stoics teach you to accept what is. Where manifestation culture tells you the universe responds to your wishes, the Stoics tell you to let go of wishing entirely. Where the modern mindset says you attract what you desire, the Stoic mindset asks, is what you desire truly good for you? Because for the Stoic, life isn't about getting what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to get everything they want to be at peace. Desire itself is not evil. But when desire becomes fixation, when it controls you instead of being controlled by you, suffering is not far behind. Marcus Aurelius warned against this in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He never said, visualize your desires until they appear. He said, train your mind to remain strong, even when they don't. The law of attraction often places happiness on the other side of attainment. You'll be happy when you reach that goal, fulfilled when the money arrives, at peace when love finds you. But Stoicism asks, why wait? Why place your well-being in the hands of something you don't control? Because that's the real danger of obsession. It puts your peace on hold. The Stoic begins from a different place, not from what he lacks, but from what he already has control over, his thoughts, his judgments, his choices. The outside world is uncertain, but the mind can be trained. And here's the paradox. When you no longer crave what you don't have, you become more powerful than someone who attracts everything, because you're no longer owned by desire. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This is the question Stoicism forces us to ask before we chase anything. Why do I want what I want? Is it for approval, validation, status, escape, ego? Or is it in alignment with reason, with virtue, with inner peace? Because if you're using manifestation to chase pleasure, status, or emotional highs, you're setting yourself up for suffering. The moment the desire isn't fulfilled, you fall. The moment things don't happen on your timeline, you doubt your power. The moment the universe fails you start to question your worth. But the Stoic doesn't need the universe to respond. He doesn't need signs. He doesn't need perfection. He needs discipline. He needs clarity. He needs virtue. You want to attract success? The Stoic answer is simple. Live with excellence. Do the work. Think clearly. Let go of what you don't control. And accept the outcome. whether it favors you or not. It's not as glamorous. It doesn't sell as many books, but it leads to something rare: resilience. Because no matter what happens, whether the world gives or takes, your peace remains intact. Stoicism doesn't reject the idea of thought shaping reality. It refines it. It says, yes, your thoughts matter, but only if they are guided by reason. Yes, belief is powerful, but only if it leads to right action. Yes, mindset matters, but it must be paired with discipline, not daydreams. So if you're drawn to the law of attraction, let Stoicism upgrade your perspective. Visualize not the reward, but the kind of person you must become. Focus not on receiving, but on becoming worthy of what you seek. Don't wait for the universe to respond. Respond to life as it is, right now. You want confidence? Don't manifest it. Practice courage. You want peace? Don't wait for the world to calm down. Train your thoughts. You want love? Don't chase it. Become someone who loves deeply, with integrity, not attachment. Desire without discipline is a trap, but desire with virtue becomes a compass. And that's where Stoicism shines, not in giving you shortcuts to pleasure, but in showing you the long road to mastery. The path of becoming, of growing, of becoming immune to the highs and lows of chance, because your soul is anchored. So yes, your thoughts matter, more than you know, but don't think about what you want. Think about who you are. And from there, build the kind of life that doesn't need attraction. It only needs action. Because that's what the Stoics did. That's what Marcus Aurelius did. He didn't wait. He didn't wish. He didn't manifest. He rose each day and led his mind, because he knew. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. And the mind is the foundation of everything. The law of attraction rests on a simple, yet compelling idea, like attracts like. In other words, the energy you put out into the universe, through your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, is the same kind of energy that comes back to you. If you consistently think positive thoughts, speak with optimism, and visualize good things happening to you, then good things will be drawn into your life. The message is clear. You are a magnet. Your mind has power beyond the physical. The frequency of your thoughts shapes your reality. Focus on abundance, and abundance will come. Focus on love, and love will appear. Focus on success, and success will be yours. This idea has spread like wildfire. Entire industries have been built around it. Books, seminars, courses, apps, vision boards, coaching programs. At the heart of this movement stands one particular book that made the law of attraction a global phenomenon, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. The Secret took ancient spiritual and philosophical themes and repackaged them in a way that was accessible, exciting, and empowering. It told readers that everything they desired was already within reach. They simply needed to align their thoughts with their desires. Think about wealth, and you will attract wealth. Think about health, and you will attract health. Think about joy, and joy will follow. The simplicity of it was magnetic. No need for struggle. No need for complexity. Just visualize and feel it as if it's already real. Speak it into existence. Align your vibration, and trust that the universe will deliver. It's not hard to understand why so many people were drawn to this message. In a world that often feels chaotic, unfair, and beyond our control, the law of attraction offers a seductive promise. You can take control. You can design your reality. You can think your way out of suffering. It feels empowering. It speaks to the part of us that longs for hope, order, and influence over our fate. But herein lies the danger, not in the optimism, but in the oversimplification. Because when this idea is taken too far, when it's detached from action, reality, and responsibility, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes magical thinking. It becomes passive wishing. It becomes a philosophy of illusion rather than liberation. Let's examine that more closely. The law of attraction begins with a powerful truth. Your thoughts shape your perception. That's undeniable. A mind filled with gratitude will see opportunity where others see scarcity. A person who believes in possibility will act with more confidence. A positive mindset can boost health, relationships, and performance. This is backed not just by philosophy, but by science. But this truth becomes distorted when thought is treated as a substitute for effort. When thinking about wealth is assumed to be equivalent to earning it. When imagining love is considered equal to embodying it. When belief replaces behavior. That's where the law of attraction begins to betray its followers. Because thought without discipline is fantasy. Desire without responsibility is weakness. And visualization without action is self-deception. The Stoics would caution us, beware of the mind that becomes intoxicated by its own dreams, but refuses to wake up and act. The world does not reward thought. It rewards consistency, effort, and virtue. And more importantly, life does not owe you anything just because you asked for it. That's where the law of attraction fails people the most. It often encourages them to believe that wanting something deeply enough or visualizing it intensely enough will cause the universe to deliver it. And if it doesn't, the problem must be you. You weren't aligned. You didn't vibrate at the right frequency. You doubted for a second. This turns personal development into self-blame. It creates guilt. It creates pressure. It creates disillusionment. Because life is not a vending machine. You don't insert positivity and get results on demand. The Stoics knew this. They never taught that the world would bend to your wishes. They taught that you must bend your mind to meet the world with strength, clarity, and composure. That's the difference. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, these were not men who believed that the universe delivers on request. They believed the mind is powerful because it adapts, not because it controls reality, but because it responds to reality with grace and courage. Where the law of attraction says, if I think it, I will have it, Stoicism says, if I face it, I will be stronger. That distinction changes everything. Because when you rely on attraction alone, you become attached to outcomes. You begin to tie your inner peace to external results. And once that happens, you are no longer free. You are at the mercy of chance. And when life inevitably brings struggle, failure, or loss, as it always does, you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Did I think the wrong thoughts? Did I speak the wrong words? But the Stoic never asks these questions. He asks only, did I respond with virtue? Because that's what truly defines the quality of your life. Not what happens to you, but how you meet it. The law of attraction, when misunderstood, can also become a form of escapism, a way to avoid pain, effort, discomfort, uncertainty. People get stuck in dreaming instead of doing. They spend hours visualizing their ideal life, but take no steps toward it. They talk about abundance, but avoid responsibility. They speak about alignment while ignoring action. Stoicism says no to that kind of illusion. It demands that you stand up, that you work, that you train your mind not just to want, but to endure, to act, to let go when needed, and to focus relentlessly on what is in your control. Because only one thing is always in your control, your judgment. Not the outcomes, not the circumstances, not whether the universe delivers what you asked for, but whether you show up with discipline, clarity, and character, no matter what the outcome is. Let's not pretend this is easy. It's far more seductive to believe that all you need to do is align your frequency or speak abundance, and life will respond. That's a comforting thought. But comfort is not the goal of philosophy. Truth is, the Stoics didn't aim to feel good. They aimed to live well, to become unshaken by fortune, to walk through suffering with dignity, to see clearly, think justly, and act wisely. And that means abandoning magical thinking in favor of rational living. It means turning away from the passive hope that the universe will give you what you want, and toward the active commitment to become worthy of what you seek. Because ultimately, the mind is not a magnet. The mind is a garden, and your thoughts are seeds, but you still need to water them. You still need to remove the weeds. You still need to protect them from the storm. Thinking about fruit doesn't make it grow. It's what you plant, how you tend it, how you wait, how you work. That's what matters. The Stoic does not dream of fruit. He plants, he digs, he sweats, and he accepts that not every seed will bear fruit, that not every effort will bring reward. But he continues, because the act itself is enough. Because he lives in accordance with his principles, not his cravings. That's the Stoic path. And it's not glamorous. It doesn't promise miracles. It doesn't offer instant results. But it builds something stronger than outcomes. It builds a mind that is free, a soul that is firm, a life that is deeply rooted in reality, not fantasy. So the next time you hear someone say, just think it and you'll attract it, pause, breathe, ask yourself, am I aligning with truth? Am I seeking comfort or clarity? Am I hoping or am I acting? Because the Stoic knows, the universe owes you nothing. But your mind, that's yours. And when you master it, you don't need to attract a certain life. You're already living it. There is one principle at the very heart of Stoic philosophy. A principle so clear, so powerful, that it has the potential to change the way you experience life itself. It is called the dichotomy of control. It comes from the teachings of Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most respected philosophers in history. A man who owned nothing but mastered everything that truly mattered, his mind. He taught that the key to inner peace, freedom, and strength lies in making one simple distinction, a line drawn in the sand of your perception. What is up to you, and what is not? He wrote, some things are up to us, and some are not. It seems obvious. Even a child knows the difference between what they can change and what they can't. But how many of us actually live that way? We obsess over things beyond our reach. We lose sleep over the opinions of others. We chase outcomes we can't guarantee. We suffer because we confuse influence with control. And that's where the suffering begins. Epictetus makes the distinction clear. What is truly within your control? 3 things. 1. Your thoughts, the way you interpret events. 2. Your choices, the decisions you make in response. 3. Your actions, what you do, say, and embody. Everything else, your reputation, your health, your success, your relationships, even your body, is ultimately outside your full control. You can influence them, guide them, improve your odds. But you can't guarantee outcomes. And trying to control what you never fully owned leads only to frustration. This isn't a call to passivity. It's the foundation of wisdom. Most people live backwards. They focus obsessively on outcomes. I need to win this deal. I must make them like me. I have to get this job. I must succeed at all costs. They measure their worth based on what happens after they act, not how they act. But the Stoic flips the equation. For the Stoic, the only success that matters is inner success. Did I act with clarity? With courage? With patience? With discipline? The outcome is not my responsibility. My effort is. My attitude is. My response is. This is not weakness. It is power, the purest kind. Because the person who lives by the dichotomy of control can never be defeated. They may lose a job, but not their dignity. They may be insulted, but not injured, unless they allow it. They may face loss, betrayal, delay, or failure, but their soul remains untouched because their peace was never tied to external things. This is where modern culture often misleads us. We are taught to focus on results. We glorify winning, achievement, status, outcomes. We are told to hustle until we get what we want. But what if we do everything right and still lose? What if we give our best and life answers with silence? The law of attraction says you didn't think positively enough. But Stoicism says you did your part. Let that be enough. Epictetus makes this brutally clear. Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is not defeatism. It's detachment. It means you don't beg reality to follow your script. You train your mind to adapt when it doesn't. Imagine the strength that gives you. You no longer need to manipulate outcomes. You don't chase happiness through control. You earn peace through discipline. Let's break it down further. You're going into a job interview. A normal person thinks, I have to get this job. I need to impress them. I hope they like me. A Stoic thinks, what's in my control? Preparation, presence, clear speech, calm nerves. That's where my focus stays. If the job is offered, great. If it's not, no problem. The Stoic gave their best. They don't lose twice, once by rejection and again by self-torment. Another example, you're in a relationship and the person you love grows distant. The world tells you, chase them, fix it, make them feel differently, manifest the outcome. The Stoic says, I control how I show up, with honesty, integrity, care, but I do not control their emotions or decisions. I let go of what is not mine. This doesn't mean indifference. It means responsible love, not attachment dressed as affection. And when the Stoic faces failure, they don't collapse. They reflect, did I act with reason? Did I stay true to my values? Did I give my best with what I knew? If yes, then that is success, even in loss. Because the Stoic's scoreboard isn't external. It's internal. Virtue is the only currency that matters. And it's a currency you always have the power to earn. Let's return to the quote. Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the art of amor fati, the love of fate. It means don't just accept what happens. Embrace it. Use it. Learn from it. Everything that happens can serve your development if your mind is trained. You get rejected? That's a test of resilience. You face delay? That's a training ground for patience. You're insulted? That's a chance to practice ego detachment. You lose what you thought you needed? That's a lesson in sufficiency. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Everything is material for virtue if you control your response. This is why Stoicism never focused on what happens. It focused on who you become because of it. While the law of attraction often tempts people to wait, to hope for the universe to deliver, Stoicism challenges you to act now, with what you have, exactly as things are. No waiting, no wishing, just presence, action, and alignment with reason. Let's be clear, Stoicism does not kill ambition. It elevates it. It tells you, aim high, train hard, strive, grow, but do so with detachment from outcome. Work as if everything depends on you, but rest in the knowledge that not everything does. This tension of effort without attachment is where freedom is found, and the mind that lives here can never be enslaved by disappointment. Let's imagine two men. One is obsessed with results. He visualizes success, desires control, fears loss. The other is committed to virtue. He welcomes challenges, accepts outcomes, adapts with reason. Which one is truly free? Which one suffers when life turns, as it always does? The Stoic stands firm, because his peace was never built on sand. And the beauty of this philosophy is that it scales across every part of life. In your work, focus on the quality of your effort, not the applause. In your relationships, give love without demanding it in return. In your body, train for discipline, not vanity. In your mind, think clearly, not optimistically. Practice virtue, not vibes. Because at the end of the day, control is a gift, but only if you know where to place it. If you spend your energy trying to control the uncontrollable, people, outcomes, fate, you will always suffer. But if you place your control where it belongs, on your own thoughts, choices, and actions, no one can take your peace from you. And that is real power. That is what Epictetus lived. That is what Marcus Aurelius practiced on the battlefield and in the palace. That is what you can practice every single day. The world may give you chaos, injustice, failure, noise, but you still control your inner citadel, your fortress of thought, reason, and virtue. No one can storm those walls without your permission. So take back your power. Draw the line. What is in my control? What is not? And once you see the difference, live like it, because everything depends on that. One of the most powerful mental disciplines in Stoic philosophy is called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. It may sound harsh or pessimistic at first, but it's quite the opposite. It's not about expecting the worst so you can stay in fear. It's about rehearsing the possible challenges of life with calm, clarity, and strength, so you are never surprised and always ready. The Stoics didn't just teach positive thinking. They taught realistic thinking. They taught resilient thinking. Before battle, a general surveys the battlefield. Before a storm, the sailor secures the ship. And before a new day, the Stoic prepares the mind. Premeditatio malorum means visualizing in advance the difficulties you might face, not to suffer twice, but to suffer less. You imagine delays, disrespect, loss, rejection, failure, pain, death, not with fear, but with discipline. You say to yourself, today I might meet someone rude. I might lose something important. My plans might collapse. I may feel frustration, envy, weakness. And instead of reacting emotionally when these things happen, you're ready. You already saw it. You already accepted it. You already prepared your response. This was not pessimism to the Stoics. It was strength training. Mental armor. Philosophical conditioning. Because the person who rehearses adversity in the calm of the morning is less shaken by it in the chaos of the day. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, tell yourself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. They are ignorant of what is good and evil." Why did he say that? Not to start his day in gloom, but to remind himself, none of this can harm me unless I let it. My response is mine. My peace is mine. Anticipation is not fear, it's readiness. Think of a boxer. He doesn't train by imagining every punch landing. He trains by imagining getting hit and learning to move, absorb, recover. The Stoic is the same. He doesn't just dream of victory. He visualizes challenge, discomfort, setbacks, and still chooses virtue. And here's the key. The Stoics also imagine success, but with detachment. They didn't deny the possibility of things going well. They simply refused to become dependent on it. They visualized the best, but prepared for the rest. Why? Because clinging to your desires is the fastest way to suffer. Desire, when unchecked, becomes addiction, obsession, expectation. And expectation, when unmet, turns into anger, frustration, despair. The Stoic shifts the target. Instead of desiring that things go their way, they learn to want whatever happens, not out of passivity, but out of trust in their own strength. They train the mind to say, "Don't wish for it to be easy. Wish to be strong." Seneca put it this way, "A good person dyes events with his own color and turns whatever happens to his own benefit. So if it rains, he walks with purpose. If it fails, he rebuilds. If it hurts, he learns." This is why the Stoic doesn't fear imagining loss. He doesn't hide from the dark. He walks into it with a lamp. He knows that loss is not the end, unless you let it define you. Premeditatio malorum isn't about being cold. It's about being calm. It's about building a mind that doesn't crack every time the world bends. It's about expecting that people will fail you and still loving them. It's about accepting that things will go wrong and still showing up. It's about realizing that your peace does not depend on perfection. It depends on preparation. And this brings us to one of the deepest Stoic teachings. Desire what you get, not get what you desire. At first glance, that sounds backwards. In modern culture, we're taught the opposite. Go get what you want. Manifest your desires. Chase your dreams until they're yours. And yes, there is beauty in pursuit. There is power in ambition. The Stoics never rejected effort, but they questioned attachment. Because if you can only be happy when things go your way, you've given the keys to your peace over to randomness. True strength is not in getting what you want. True strength is in wanting what you get. This doesn't mean you don't act. It means that after you act, with full effort, with full intention, you surrender the outcome. And when the result comes, whether it matches your hopes or not, you welcome it like a wise host. So this is what the moment has brought. Very well, let's meet it. This is detachment, not from life, but from the illusion that life must bow to your will. Detachment is not weakness. It is freedom. When you let go of needing things to be a certain way, you open yourself to using things as they are. That is the Stoic's gift, not control over reality, but control over response. And here's the paradox. When you desire what you get, you become invincible, because nothing can take your peace. They can take your money, but not your reason. They can insult your name, but not your character. They can betray your trust, but not your values. They can cancel your plans, but not your purpose. You own your mind, and that's where freedom begins. So how can you practice premeditatio malorum in daily life? It's simple, but powerful. In the morning, take a few minutes to reflect. What might go wrong today? Who might disappoint me? Where might I face resistance or rejection? What fears could show up? Then say to yourself, if these happen, I am ready. They will not shake my soul. They will train it. And then, visualize success, but release the outcome. Desire to show up with virtue, not to guarantee a result. Expect setbacks and use them as fuel. Do this each day, and your mind becomes like a sword, tempered by fire, sharpened by discipline, unbreakable in pressure. And when success comes, as it often does, you greet it not with pride, but with grace. Thank you. And if you leave tomorrow, I'll still be the same. Because the Stoic is not ruled by victory. He is not broken by defeat. He is rooted in something deeper. The ability to remain calm, clear, and centered, no matter what life throws at him. And it all begins with imagining the worst, so that when it comes, you're not caught off guard. You're ready. So remember this every morning. Don't just picture what you want. Picture what might test you. Picture what might fall apart. And prepare your soul not to break. Because the Stoic does not fear the storm. He becomes the one who walks through it, with calm steps, with clear eyes, and with a mind already forged. Your reality is shaped not by thoughts alone, but by consistent action and disciplined reason. This is where Stoicism parts ways with much of modern self-help philosophy, especially with the law of attraction. Because the law of attraction tells you to believe, to visualize, to speak it into existence. It says that if you think the right thoughts, if you align your frequency, the universe will begin to shape itself in your favor. But Stoicism doesn't stop at belief. It doesn't rest in the mind alone. It moves, deliberately, calmly, relentlessly, toward action. It begins not with desire, but with choice. Not with dreams, but with discipline. Not with hope, but with virtue. Epictetus made it simple. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the Stoic blueprint. It begins with identity, who you want to become, and it follows with commitment. Not once, not when it's easy, not only when you're motivated. But every single day, with clarity, with effort, with humility. Let's break this down. Step 1. Say to yourself what you would be. What kind of person do you want to become? Not what kind of car you want to drive. Not what kind of house you want to live in. Not what kind of attention you want to receive, but what kind of soul you want to carry. Do you want to be courageous? Calm under pressure, honest in difficulty, disciplined in desire, kind when others are cruel? That's where Stoicism starts. With character, with virtue, with the internal, because that's what you actually own. That's what can't be taken from you. That's what defines a good life. Not possessions, not praise, but principle and practice. Once you've defined who you want to be, the second step is even harder. Do what you have to do. That's the part people avoid. Because modern philosophy often teaches us to feel instead of act. To visualize instead of discipline. To wait for the universe to give us signs, instead of becoming the kind of person who doesn't need signs to do what's right. But Stoicism tells you, no one is coming to build you. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to think your thoughts, hold your tongue, control your impulses. That is your work. That is your responsibility. And that is your freedom. Because the moment you commit to action, you take power back from life. Your circumstances don't own you. Your emotions don't drive you. Your future isn't a product of fantasy. It's the result of intentional repetition. This is what Stoics meant when they said that reason must govern the soul. You don't wait until you feel like it. You don't act based on fear, anger, lust, or doubt. You act according to nature, which means according to reason and virtue. That's the test. Every moment of the day presents a choice. Will you let your lower self react, or let your higher self respond? Will you fall into desire, or rise into discipline? Will you act from impulse, or from principle? The law of attraction would have you believe that the quality of your thoughts is enough, that your inner vibration can move mountains. And yes, your thoughts matter, but they are only the beginning. The Stoics knew this. They knew that thought without action is fantasy. That intention without effort is weakness. That hope without discipline is self-deception. Because the world doesn't change because you want it to. The world changes because you become someone who shows up, who works, who leads, who builds, who returns to the path, even when it's hard. Let's look again at Epictetus' words. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You want to be brave? Then you must do the things that scare you, not run from them. You want to be calm? Then you must train your mind to pause, to breathe, to master your response, especially in the heat of emotion. You want to be strong? Then you must practice voluntary hardship. You must welcome difficulty as training, not as punishment. You want to be wise? Then you must learn to listen, to observe, to restrain the ego, to read, reflect, and remain a student of life. Because wisdom is not intelligence. It is applied clarity. And strength is not the absence of pain. It is the presence of purpose through the pain. These are Stoic truths, timeless, unglamorous, and rare. They don't fit neatly into viral affirmations or 60-second reels. They require something deeper, a life of commitment. And that's the point. The Stoic does not seek to attract a better life. He seeks to deserve it, not through luck, not through charm, not through shortcuts, but through consistent, disciplined action shaped by reason. Because your thoughts are the blueprint. But your behavior is the building. The law of attraction tells you that you're a magnet. Stoicism tells you that you're an architect. Your life is a structure dot, and each day is a brick dot. What you do, not what you feel, is the mortar. Do you lay your bricks with care? Or do you fantasize while the foundation crumbles? This is not about self-punishment. It's about self-respect. You respect yourself enough to act, even when no one is watching dot, even when it's hard dot, even when it's slow dot, even when the results don't show yet. Because the results are not your job. Your job is effort dot. Your job is attention dot. Your job is to stay on the path. And in time, life begins to respond. Not like magic dot, but like momentum. Discipline compounds dot. Virtue deepens dot. Character strengthens. And one day, you look back and realize you built something unshakable. Not because you hoped dot. Not because you dreamed it. But because you did what had to be done. And you did it again dot. And again dot. And again. Without applause dot. Without reward dot. Without needing it to be easy. That is stoicism in motion. That is virtue in action. And that is the only kind of attraction that truly matters. When life is drawn not to your wishes, but to your work. So ask yourself, who do I want to be? And then, am I acting like it right now? Because identity is not something you wait for dot. It is something you step into, with each choice, each word, each breath. The Stoics didn't dream of greatness dot. They lived it, one disciplined moment at a time. So don't wait for the universe to align. Align your mind. Align your habits. Align your soul. And then, as Epictetus said, do what you have to do.